Hello, everyone, or the two. Hope everyone is doing okay. Well, I thought we'll have another live stream tonight. And if you've got any questions, by all means, throw it in. I'll be with you maybe another half an hour or something, and we'll see how it goes. If, like last night, we have lots of people showing up and lots of questions, fair enough. We'll continue. If not, then we'll just say goodnight. Now, remember, we are hoping to answer questions in a short few minutes. If it's going to be needed for longer discussion, you're more than welcome to go on my site, mind.seekstruth.com, and make an appointment for us to discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. You can either watch the videos, there's about 3,000 videos on this channel in regards to thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, relationships, breakups, and how to regain your balance and continue your journey in this short journey of life with happiness and success. Or you can, and we also discuss about OCD substance, intrusive thoughts, and so on. So you can watch either the videos that discuss your questions and concerns, or you can make an appointment with me for a Skype consultation one-on-one. Mind.seekstruth.com is my site. Or you can ask your questions here. And remember, we have decided, you guys decided that we'll run this open discussions and live streams with super chats. And the reason was that you guys did suggest and notice that we've been doing this for 13 years. And unless we have support to handle the expenses of the channel, I shouldn't be shelling out of my pocket after 13 years and do this. So you guys have a question, by all means, but super chat is now a new norm for this channel, as it is for every other channel that they have live stream. So we'd appreciate your support as we aim to help everybody, but we do have to meet the economic needs of the channel. So don't forget, super chat for questions. And let's see, Rishav Raj says, hi, Miran. How to stop addiction of porn and masturbation because it's ruining life. Well, masturbation is something normal that you need to have it, especially, I think girls are the same way, but, especially if you're a boy, you've got a little bit of a different sexual urges and needs. So there's nothing wrong with masturbating, but watching porn, what it does, it insensitizes you towards women. So you will begin to look at every woman outside in the street and think that they're the porno girls, or that they're willing to have sex with you because you've been seeing these beautiful women, sexy women on the porno thing are engaging in sex without any prelude, getting to know each other or any time or whatnot. Just they meet and they, physically become attracted and have sex. So it insensitizes you to respect towards women. At the same time, insensitizes you towards naked body of a woman because you see it all the time. It wouldn't keep its novelty for you. So when you are with your woman, in reality, you're not that excited as quickly as you should be, because to you that's something like not an anomaly, not a beautiful thing, something that happens once in a while. It's something you've been watching all the time. So the naked body loses its novelty. So you don't want to do that. So the way to do it is simply understand what it does to your lifestyle and what it does to your mentality and what it does to your level of pleasure when you're with your girlfriend. Just don't do it. It's like saying, how can I stop addiction to cigarette? Well, just focus on what it does to your health and what are the negative connotations and negative effects on it of it on you, and then cognitively decide that this is something you should not do if you want to, enjoy a clear lung and be able to enjoy sports and running and be healthy. Simple. You don't need, you just focus on the effect of health of it on anything that you want to quit, and you'll do a better job. Joseph Casano says, hi, Miran. Hope you're doing great. Thank you very much, Joseph. Thank you for asking. There are 5 people here, but I guess nobody has a question, and perhaps you guys got scared because of the super chat. Don't be. I've done it for free for 13 years. Now it's up to you guys to up the ante. God damn it. All right, let the questions flow so we can have a conversation. Joseph broke the ice. We have a $1.99. This is $2. Super chat. That's very kind. Included question below. Yes, okay. Where's the question? Where is the question, Joseph? There is no question. If the question doesn't appear, you might want to look at it and change a word. I think YouTube picks up on certain words and somehow decides to cut it out. So just kind of change the words to something that it has the same meaning, but it's a different word. And then it'll probably, there we go. Joseph says, how do I overcome the fear of solipsism? Who I really am is very happy and passionate person. Why is this jumping up and down? Let me fix this. Just one moment, guys. Let me fix this. So I can't fix this. Can you guys see the background okay? To me, it's a little bit distorted. Just say yes or no. I don't think, maybe there's nothing wrong. Maybe it's only my screen. Can you guys see everything okay? Yes, no, maybe? Don't all of you answer at the same time. Just one, one at a time. Just let me know if you guys can see me. Yeah, okay then. So it's just a glitch here. All right, so Joseph says, what? No, let's go. Joseph says, how do I overcome the fear of solipsism? The fear? Why the fear? As I understand it, unless you have a different definition for it, solipsism is when you think nothing outside of your mind exists. In other words, you're a selfish cunt. And everything you want is just, that's all it matters. Is that what your definition is? Is that what you're talking about? Says, who I really am is very happy and passionate person, and getting mentally stuck on these irrational fears really causes me to repress myself, because I know that's what OCD is. Repress yourself from doing what? Repressing ourselves. Explain that part. It really shuts me down. Do I overcome by logically countering this irrational fear of solipsism, or prevent myself from engaging with the thoughts? I need an example, because you're talking about something that, first of all, you got to be able to differ between mind and brain. And I'm not sure if you have created that difference or recognized that difference. Are you talking about being selfish and thinking that since nothing else out of what you want exists, and the most important thing is what you want, regardless of the consequences to the others? Or are you talking about you believe nothing else exists other than what you conjure up in your mind, and then you act on it since you believe nothing else exists, therefore you become very, very selfish? Is that what you're talking about? Because if you are selfish to the point that it hinders your relationship with other people, you got to modify that. You're not an animal to only think. Even animals are not that selfish. They have certain kind of an unwritten rule, whether it's when they're playing, or whether it's running, or when they're eating. They observe a certain kind of a protocol. So thinking nothing else exists other than your mind is so foolish, because you mean the whole world's whole universal ass opened up just for you to come out in this world? Nothing else matters? Then why is it that you're not creating the universe, or being in control of, everybody's healing or needs and all that magical things that we all wish we had, those powers? So I wonder if you could explain a little bit more so we could share the depth of your question. Joseph says, it hurts me because everything I care about goes against solipsism. So why do you have to be like that anyhow? Fuck solipsism. What the hell is that? There's a limit for everything. Even if you drink so much water, which is good for you, you're going to just deplete yourself from minerals and you die eventually, or bloat and, I don't know, just tear your stomach apart or something happens to you. So there's everything in moderation. Even if solipsism, if you find it selfish, or you think that you're the only thing that matters, to a point, not to a point that is unlimited, that actually is detrimental to other people's livelihood and safety and needs and everything else. It's like going to a store and there's like, a lineup out there. They all want oranges because they need the sustenance of it, and there are 5 oranges left there, and you buy all 5. Fuck, take 4, leave 1. That's humanity. That's compassion. That trumps anything else that you might conjure up or think you should follow. Who says that you have to follow that? And says, and I don't even believe it. I just fear it. I don't understand why I fear it. You can only fear what you get involved with. And before you get involved with something that you fear, you have the power to choose. You live your life by choices and vetoes. So you veto what you think and what you come to understand according to your values is not something you should be involved with. So take the 4 oranges, not take the 5th. And don't be fearful of something that you don't want to be or you don't want to do. Just don't do and don't be. It's your choice. You have the final power. Your brain is not going to be able to push you to do something when you understand that your brain is not you. You're not the brain, brain is not you. So whatever brain conjures up and makes you think that, oh, it says you need this and you got to provide that, you decide if you need this or not and how much of it in moderation. It's not about that you have to follow whatever the brain conjures up. You judge whatever brain conjures up. Therefore, the brain is below you, is beneath you. You're above. You are the top dog in this entity. Brain is an organ, is a tool, is an apparatus. You're not supposed to follow the brain. Brain is supposed to follow you. You're the awareness. Brain is a material process. Brain is an organ. It's got a job. Its job is to make thoughts. And often these thoughts are bullshit. And it's not in line with your values. And that's when you judge, this is not in line with my values, whatever the topic may be, and you won't comply. You won't continue. And that's the way to live. Choices and vetoes. Otherwise, it's no different than saying that somebody in the street says something and you run and you do exactly what it says. And you're not in control of your life. Brain too. Brain is not in control of your life. Brain is an apparatus, is a tool that you lived for millions of years before this brain was bestowed upon you, was given to you. This brain was only given to us 40,000 years ago. Before that, we were living without this brain. So we existed before the brain came. So brain cannot be me, and I'm not the brain. I am above the brain. I've been around for millions of years until this brain was added to me. It's just like, kind of like saying, I lived for 1,000,000 years with one kidney, and then the second kidney was added to me after evolution or something. So it's just another addition, added value. So you don't have to follow what the brain says. You don't have to be fearful of it because you always have the ultimate power. The judgment of doing something or not doing, choosing something or not choosing, is always you that does that, not the brain. Joseph says, for instance, there are ideas about solipsism, such as when you create the reality, you did so and limited yourself to not be able to influence the world so that you can have the human experience. What? Such as when you created, oh, you mean when you were created or you created something? When you created the reality, I don't understand. What do you mean when you created reality? What reality did you create? When you create reality, you did so and limited yourself to not to be able to influence the world so that you can have the human experience. I don't understand. Honestly, I don't. Explain it. You picked this up from some kind of a place that it was written like this. What the fuck does it mean? You have to question that. What the hell does it mean? Where's the question? And Joseph says, I understand brain and mind and separate. If you do, then you're the boss. Why are you afraid of something that the brain tells you should be afraid of? And all these isms are planting something in your brain, and with that plant, you're functioning according to what that philosophy or understanding is. What about your own understanding? Why do you have to follow anything? Why don't you make up something that is in line with your values? So I understand brain and mind are separate, but when it relates to solipsism, but why does it have to fucking relate to solipsism? What is it that you so hung up on this philosophy that you think everything is supposed to be following that principle? When it relates to solipsism, I will then think, well, it's your brain fearing this or you. You tell me. You are the awareness. You're the judge of what the brain secretes. So it's the brain that interprets something, and if this interpretation is not accurate according to your abilities and your values, then you veto it. You don't follow it. So why do you think that? Is it the brain or is it you? It's very simple. If it was you, you would not need to judge what the brain says, but often you judge what the brain says and you see that is not valuable, that is not in line with my values, that is not accurate, and you refute it. If it was you, you wouldn't refute anything. But you can see in your life, during a daily life, there are many things you disagree with. That's an idea from the brain. So that means it's always the brain coming up with some suggestion, and it's your job to use your awareness, your gatekeeper, your wise advocate, your super consciousness, your core principles of values to judge what the brain has suggested and then accept or refute it or veto it. So is your brain fearing this or you? I genuinely think solipsism is bullshit, but I get stuck to it. Well, it's your choice to want to get stuck with it or not. It's an ism. Somebody came up with it. And unless you agree with it or you can digest it or cognitively justify it or not, that's the way you should look at it. Not just because somebody said it, so I must somehow put it to work or believe it, because there is an ism. So big fucking deal. Somebody came up with the idea of communism or capitalism or socialism, but it's up to you to see which one is in line with your values. Why do you have to accept communism just because some motherfucker came up with it and thought it's a way to control people, as they're trying to control us in this world right now? It doesn't matter who comes up with what. It's a matter of what your understanding and your decision according to your values are. So you seem to be following something because somebody came up with it and it's there. And it says, adding onto the post, I didn't write clearly, in other words, if solipsism is true when you are imagining reality through your mind, I know it's shit. What if you're limiting yourself to human experience? Are you saying that, but who has come up with that, whatever it is that you're trying to see, if you limited yourself to that? Who came up with that? Who came up with the idea that your reaction to something is limiting yourself to your human experiences and there is more to it than your human experiences? Why would you think solipsism is supposed to be the answer for everything that we're dealing with? Why should we worry about? We're human beings and we limit ourselves. We don't limit ourselves, we unlimit ourselves, but that's the limit of our unlimitedness, by understanding certain things and not understanding certain things. I can't be worried about what I cannot understand unless somebody comes along and show it to me, teaches me, then I will. But if there's nobody teaching me, that I cognitively create and conjure up something is beyond my understanding. So therefore, what I understand of this concept is invalid. Because there must be something else, because I'm limiting myself to human experience. That's kind of a bullshit way of solipsism. Whoever came up with it is trying to tell you that whatever I say is right and whatever you don't understand or you say is not, because you're limiting yourself to human experiences. Do you understand what you're saying, really, what you're following? Just stop this bullshit and just act on what you thoroughly can analyze and understand based on your experience and knowledge and research. And as much as you can research it, and that's still a level of your understanding, and you make the best choice based on that. Why do you have to constantly think, oh, what I understand is not enough? No matter what it is, there's always something more. And so therefore, because I don't understand it, I'm limiting myself to human experiences. Therefore, that's not good enough. Well, who came up with this solipsism? That must have been a human too. It didn't come from some kind of outer space. So they, by having come to with the philosophy of solipsism, we say, well, that's bullshit because you're limiting yourself with the human experience, and solipsism is human experience. So I refute that. Unless you give me an example, a real example. Words in philosophy, unless there is an example to it, to see it in action, in reality, it's always debatable. So I'll go to the next one unless we hear from you later on. And let me go open this window. It's a little bit warm here. Joseph says, for example, I love my family and friends. If solipsism is true, that love is meaningless. So what do you think it is? Do you think that love is meaningless? Let's talk about it. You're talking about reality, right? Reality is that you're a human being. And whatever the solipsism of every other motherfucker is saying, that this is your limitation to a human experience, whatever it is, that is the reality. Based on that, do you want to love them, or it's meaningless to love them? Be cruel, be selfish, be an asshole, and don't care about it. Then who are you? You're not human, because then you're defying the definition of human being. A human being is an entity which has this energy and the mass and then emotions and caring, and this is how we are put together. Then if you want to bring solipsism that in here claims that your love for your family is meaningless because it's limiting yourself to human values, human experience, then that means I'm of no value to be here. I don't exist because, okay, let's all just leave this world, supposedly, and let solipsism, the philosophy, live. Why are you following something that it's not alive? You who are alive, and the reality of humanity is in you, like every one of us, that's the feeling you have for your family. So that's humanity. Meaningless to who? To some asshole, and they suddenly, that's a philosophy? It could be meaningless to my neighbor, but it's not meaningless to me because I am made out of energy, and energy has polarity, and I happen to be positive energy, emotions that is loving, nurturing. My hand's supposed to turn plants into greeneries, help them to bring fruits and flowers. That's how I feel connected to the universe. If I am not real, then what has made me and I came from is not real, which is the universal energy. And if that's not real, then solipsism is not real, because that fucking thing could not have existed if there was no universe and there was no me. So I am the reason that these assholes come up with these sort of things that confuses the shit out of you. All right. And Joseph says, nothing more that matters to me than loving and caring about the people in my life. Being human and appreciating life is what I care about. And solipsism goes against. Don't know why I fear such a dumb thing. Well, you just said it. And what you don't know, don't continue trying to know, because it's bullshit. And I just laid it out for you. Solipsism cannot exist if it wants to defy your existence and defy the source that you come from, which is the universe. And solipsism, the philosophy, is supposed to live in the universe that it doesn't believe it exists. So fuck it. It's bullshit. All right. Let's go to another super chat. Let's find one. Remember, guys, we need super chat to survive. And that's a decision you guys made 3 weeks ago, collectively. And it was Jesse's idea from Germany. And we all agreed that's how we're going to do so the channel can survive. So you guys got a question? we need super chat. It's unfortunate that I have to say that. You guys should know it by now. God damn it. 13 years I carried this, and it's now your turn. All right. Let's find some worthy question here. I'm going to go to Stephen because he's already done so many super chats for us that he gets a free one tonight. Stephen says, good evening, Maron. Good evening, Stephen. Says male 43 Los Angeles. Thank you for that. Remember, guys, you're supposed to let me know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. So don't forget, before your question, which we need a super chat for, I also need, before your question, to see your age, gender, and where you're tuning in from. I'd appreciate that. Rishav Raj says, how to be consistent in studies. Well, translate that to your life. What happens if you're not consistent in your studies? You don't pass the grade. You don't pass the exam. You don't pass the grade. And then how is it going to affect your life? You don't get a job or a good job. You don't have enough money to put food on the table. You won't be able to rent a place. You won't be able to get married or something, or contribute to a relationship that you're going to be having. So translate it, and you see how important it is to be consistent in your studies. Simple as that. That was a freebie. Next one going to be a super chat, guys. Chin may say, hi, Miran, sir. Hope you're doing well. May everyone be able to cope with their obstacles or challenges. Well, thank you very much. It's a good wish. I appreciate that. We all hope so as well. Guys, remember, you got to let me know your age, gender, where you're tuning in from. Bobby Yoga is male 29 from Washington. I went to school in Washington. Seattle, Washington, or Washington, D.C.? So recently found out my sister have been speaking badly of me to common friends and some cousins. I have done so much for them. I'm so lost. Can you explain this side of female toxicity? It's not about female toxicity. It's about toxicity of a human being. Some people are unable to have the tallest building in town. You see, there are two ways to have the tallest building in town. One is to destroy all other buildings. Once you destroy all other buildings, whatever you have, it's going to look like the tallest. Because you don't have the ability to build yours, and you're envying everybody else's accomplishment, and you believe that everybody else is more capable and better than you, so you start destroying what they have. If you were, the other way to have the tallest building is to keep building your own. But many people in this life don't have that ability. You're not the only one whose sister is an asshole. So don't feel left out. There are many in this world who have people in their families that they're evil, and they're simply delusional, liars, cheaters, wish to embezzle, and they come up with ways to put you in a guilty spot when you have done nothing wrong, and then they feel that they can justify their own atrocities. So it's a cover. And don't get fooled for that. You stay on course, comply with your own values, and hold yourself high and hold everybody else accountable. So it's no big deal. You focus on your own life. You cannot stop assholes, liars, cheaters, fakers, incapable, fearful, embezzlers, thieves, and all these people. Just focus on your own life and do what you're supposed to be doing. Attend to your duties and responsibilities. These people will pass. They're not important. They're not important. Only people who are positive and honest are important to your life. And as long as you stay honest and focused on your responsibilities, then it doesn't matter what others say. Your judge is the truth, not the bullshit of others. And all right. Dub97 says 27 California male. Thank you for that. Says, do HOCD thoughts have anything to do with attraction? It's HOCD. It can influence and make you believe that you have attraction to something that you actually don't. That's HOCD. That's a doubting disease. That's a glitch in the brain. That's a glitch in the midbrain basal ganglia striatum caudate nucleus, which is a lever supposed to shut down intrusive thoughts. If it's out of work, if it's got a glitch and it's not functioning properly, it makes you all confused with all kind of shit out of anxiety, overworking, overactive amygdala, and all these things that you don't understand it, but you end up thinking that the reaction of the body to all these effects that the brain makes the body react, because brain is powerful, can make the body react. And when it makes the body react from a thought, body reacts to a thought, and then you take that reaction of the body as an evidence that the thought is correct, which the thought to begin with is bogus, because the brain is going through the glitch of OCD, HOCD, subsets of OCD, and intrusive thoughts and whatnot. All right. Joseph has sent us another super chat. It's very kind of you. And Joseph says, do I get rid of this bullshit for good by logically disputing it because it's nonsense, or by doing response prevention and not engaging with the thought about it? You know, what do you do when you are walking in the street and you see a piece of shit on the corner of the street? What do you do? At the beginning, you don't know what it is. You go a few steps forward, and then you say, oh, holy, that's shit. Either the smell of it catches you or the look of it, it's shit. Now, what do you do now that you know it's shit? You're going to poke into it, put your finger into it, put your nose closer to it, want to find out what's in it, what kind of a shit it is, who's responsible for it. Is it a human shit or a dog shit or what other animal shit? Are you going to investigate that? Or are you going to touch it with your shoes? What are you going to do? Or you're just going to say, okay, I know it's shit, therefore I got no more question. It's shit. I already interpreted it, and now I go on. Which one is the one that you would choose? That's your answer. And then, according to Dr. Schwartz, the 4 steps is the way you can actually rewire your brain when it comes up with these kind of bullshit and wants to give value to this kind of nonsense. And then you simply use the 4 steps, relabel. You interpret the thought, you interpret the suggestion, rather than leaving it being mystical. You say, there is a thought that is suggesting to me that there's a thought that's suggesting to me that solipsism is something I should pay attention to. It's valid. I'll say, I feel I'm being fooled right now. I'm being distracted right now. So you give it a narrative, you give it a translation of how you're feeling. It's not like, oh, solipsism is a valid point, so I have to now know, I have to follow it. No, you already say I'm being confronted with a nonsense. You give it a translation, or this solipsism philosophy is now coming to my mind again. I'm feeling anxiety right now. Like, explain it, what it makes you feel. I'm feeling confusion right now. And then you say, is there something wrong? Or I'm really, or there's, do I feel something's wrong, or is there something really wrong? So you ask this question. So is this something I should deal with it, or it's just wasting my time? You reframe it. And then once you realize it's a shit in the corner of the street, and it doesn't need your attention, otherwise there's 80, 90,000 thoughts a day that you don't have time to pay attention to every one of them. So you say, okay, now I focus my attention on something that is positive, rather than focusing on this solipsism or on this bullshit or whatever it is. Why do you have to spend my time on that? I'm going to spend it on something positive. It could be something very simple. You drink tea, or take a walk, or listen to music, or talk to your friends, or whatever it is you want to do. And that's how you switch from this attention to something positive. And then your brain, the fourth step, is revalues this as you keep doing these three steps: relabel, reframe, and refocus. And then your brain does a revalue. And after you do this many times, every time these sort of things comes to hit you in the brain, and you respond to it with the 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz, after a while, all these 3 steps happens, boom, like that, without you having to go through them. And the 4th one is happening right in your brain, that revalue. That means you don't even pay attention to it. You just automatically pass by. Or having these 3 done automatically, all 3 of them at the same time in your brain. And the 4th one is revalue, which the conclusion of it is to move on. And then your brain sees how you deal with it every time it comes up. It stops bringing these questions because it understands that you don't give a fuck, and you don't entertain it, and you don't value it, and you don't accredit it. And eventually sees you don't exchange energy with it, it shuts down and doesn't bring it up. And if it brings it up, again, you quickly recognize the quality of it, what it is about. And that quality already has a file of dormant, non-existent, not interested, in the garbage, and you keep moving on. You don't analyze and keep debating on it, just keep moving on. Joseph, what is the balance there, or is there only balance at all? There's no balance. It's your choice. What do you have to waste your time for the solipsism? What the fuck for? What does it do for you? Nothing. So there's no profit to it. There's no logic to it. There's no benefit to it. You know, if you watched Star Trek, and there's a race coming from a world of Ferengis, if there's no benefit, if there's no profit in it, they don't spend their time on it. So same thing. If there's no use for the bloody bullshit that comes out of the brain, doesn't matter, or the philosophy or topic, don't spend your time. You've got a short journey of time in this life. You don't have time to pay attention to every bullshit that comes out. Is it useful? No. Why should I spend my energy and time on it? Then let's go. So I don't believe in the solipsism, but then my mind goes to, well, what if it's true? Really? That what if, the power of what if, is something that I've recorded, and I'm going to put it on video soon. That what if you got to let go. That what if is going to ruin your life. What if I don't deal with it? In reality and actuality, if something is happening, I deal with it. Something is not happening, I'm not going to conjure up what if. In what if, which is a virtual thought, it's happening in the virtual mind, and the brain isn't living in a virtual world, and the what if and the memory is in virtual world, and the brain is functioning with this what if virtually, And in virtual world, there is no past, there's no time. In virtual world, everything seems like it's happening now. So the what if in the brain, when it comes up, because brain lives in the virtual world, and the memory where the what if and all these topics comes from is in the virtual world, is non-existent in the actual world, it's just an echo. And in that memory, in the brain, there is no time. There is no past, there is no future. Whether you're thinking about picking up a content from the memory in the past, to the brain is the now. And whether you're hoping or fearing of something happening in the future, to the brain, there's no future, it's the now, because all virtual. But because the brain believes it is the now, because it has no other choice, that can't understand past, can't understand future, everything is in virtual world, and when happening there, it thinks it's a now. Because when the brain thinks it's a now, it makes your body thinks it's a now, and then you become fearful of it. Then you think you gotta have to come to a conclusion. You have to solve it. It's a non-existent bullshit. If it was in the past, if the suggestion to the brain is now, but it actually in the memory, which to you in reality is the past, memory is the past, past is dead, it doesn't exist. So if it's in the past, it doesn't fucking exist anyhow. If it's about some fear or suggestion for the future hasn't come. The time that this thing supposed to be happening in it hasn't even arrived. So how could something that you're fearful of it to happen could be happening when the time of it that is supposed to happen in it hasn't even arrived? So none of them is real, and you're going to spend your time to solve and come to a conclusion for something that is a non-happening, non-existence. That's a real fuck up. It's putting you at work. So you need to simply not pay value to these sort of bullshit that the brain comes up with and move on. There we go. You're the first one who actually heard the bit about power of what if. All right. Now, Joseph, can't go on for $1.99 any more than this. Your call is not being interrupted because you need more coins. Says, what's the balance? Okay, we said, okay, is that the right way to go about it, or is the right way to not even engage with these thoughts at all? So that's the brain steps concerning creating. Okay, issue. So that my brain stuff, yeah. Issue deep down, I fear it's not just my brain. If it's not your brain, what the fuck is it? If it's not your brain, that means your brain doesn't exist, right? If it's not your brain, that is the same as you don't have a brain. If it's not your brain making it, it means you don't have a brain. If you don't have a brain, how are you connecting with the outside? It's not 40,000 years ago when you're connecting with life through stem brain, which is instinct, and there is no instinct that could even remotely affect you with an what if sentence. Solicism is about a what if. What if it's true, right? No animal that lives instinctively is worried about what if, because they only worry about what is happening in front of them and they can do something about it. They don't have a long-term memory in a way of events, not in the way of recognizing things. And they don't have any understanding of what if possibilities, only factual act. If we were living like them, which we did for millions of years before we got this fucked up brain, which has got lots of use for it, also has lots of glitches and malfunctions in it, we were living also the same. There was no what if. We had no psychological problems 40,000 years ago. Everything was instinctive. Run, hunt, eat, sleep, have sex, no questions. No questions, OCD, no questions, HOCD, no question, intrusive thought, because we were not able to think or speak. Words didn't exist, didn't have a meaning, didn't create an emotion. So there was no effect on us. Everything was hardwired. That's why we didn't have as much psychological problem as human being has today, because we can think. Thoughts are the roots of all problems. The what if is a thought. It's not reality. It's something you conjure up and the brain believes it. And then you got to follow what the brain believes because you think the brain is smart. And you just discount yourself like you don't fucking exist. You're the awareness. You're the boss of the brain. You're supposed to judge it. Once you start judging the fucking brain, then the brain cannot fool you anymore. The what ifs and the OCD and every other shit in that family of OCD subsets disappears because you know how to handle it. You recognize it and then you reframe it and then you refocus and you go on. You don't pay attention for the garbage because you don't give credibility to the brain because it doesn't have credibility. Dr. Speary, Dr. Penfield in 1930s and 1960s and 70s have done over thousands of open brain surgery. Once you get through the skull, there's no nerve ending for you to feel pain. So the patients often awake to help the surgeons to do the probing and experiences. And they were able to find places where they could stimulate and there would be response, such as sight. Stimulate something and the patient would say, oh, I see light. They could localize a sight center. They could localize speech center. So stimulate someplace and the patient would say a word or sound. They could localize speech center. They could localize motoring center. Stimulate somewhere, maybe a limb would move. They could localize a motoring center. But they could never localize compassion center. They could never localize math center. They could never localize smarts intelligence center. They could never localize political center. They could never localize consciousness center. The brain is not smart for you to follow its ass, try to make conclusions out of bullshit that it comes up with. That's your answer. All right. All right. Any more questions, Joseph? You can go and make an appointment with me on my site, mind@seekstruth.com, and we'll discuss what's concerning you one-on-one on Skype. Yeah. Dub97 says, let's see, how old are you and what your gender and where you're tuning in from? Can I have that, please? No, Jorge. No, that's bullshit. You won't. Stop that bullshit. That's just OCD, HOCD. Pop, what are you talking about? How to release trapped emotions? It's not one way. Depends on what kind of emotion is it. Is it the emotion of pain in your stomach? Well, you might want to be farting. That's easy. You gotta know what the background of it is, what kind of emotion, and then different ways for different type of effects. So Dub 97 is 27, California male. Is it California or is it Canada? All right. Do HOCD thoughts have anything to do with, we discussed that one. And then now it says, is intrusive thoughts always a sign of a malfunction of the brain, or can you have them without brain being malfunction? You can have them without the brain being malfunction, but right then, because brain is not malfunctioning, caudate nucleus is working, your system of value system is working, amygdala is not overactive, therefore there's no anxiety and there's no malfunction in the lever that is supposed to shut down intrusive thoughts. It'll get shut down and your brain cognitively will simply veto it and you move on. So if it's lingering and makes you think, then that's a malfunction. Otherwise, it's designed to let go of these bullshits. Thank you for that, Dub. Joseph has come with, I think, yet another super chat, I believe. Yes. So let's see what he says. He says, what do you think about mainstream OCD treatments such as NOCD, which has become popular. What are your thoughts on psych practices such as medications, SSR1, etc.? Well, I'm not a psychotherapist. My knowledge about medicine in psychology is very limited, and non-existent. Let's put it this way. I'm not qualified to talk about medicine because I don't know. SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, is something that many psychologists give to a certain level of OCD sufferers, and they hope to, be able to help them with that. Um, okay, where was I? Okay. So in regards to, Joseph says, I took SSRI for 1.5 years. I don't for 5 months now, and they really robbed me out and stole a lot of my personality and depth of emotion, self-awareness, connection to others. All right. And in regards to NOCD, I think it's a company that offers OCD relief and all that. I don't know about them. I have no idea about them. But I see that they make appointments and stuff like that. What else did you ask question? Pretty much it. Now, you say mainstream OCD treatment have made me feel like using logic to dispute OCD related fears in comparison in compulsive is if fears is compulsive or not following exposure response prevention. I'm sorry, let me read that again. Mainstream OCD treatment have made me feel like using logic to dispute OCD related fears is compulsive or not following exposure response prevention. This sense doesn't make sense, does it? What do you think of these, such as NOCD? Look, you can't get engaged with disputing OCD as let's talk about this. You're getting engaged to dispute OCD through a brain that it is already in the glitch of OCD. But you expect this brain that is already malfunctioning to become functioning and cognitively sharp and fair and balanced when you suggest to it or refute or debate cognitively, logically about its malfunction. The fucking thing is malfunctioning, is not going to be functioning properly when you talk about its malfunctioning. It's still going to be using a malfunctioning brain to discuss with you. That's why logically speaking or debating with the OCD brain is not going to work. You got to retrain it. You got to rewire it using 4 steps of Dr. Schwartz and many other techniques. it is ERP or CBT, you try to rewire it, not discuss with it. It's like saying, I have a tire gauge that is broken, but with this tire gauge, I'm going to find that the accurate, correct air pressure in this tire. How? It's broken. You can't use the same broken tire gauge just because it's called tire gauge. Now you want to see, you're expected to give you the right answer. No, it's broken. You got to go and get another tire gauge, and then got to fix this one, and then you're going to use it because it's the same tire gauge. So you're using the same OCD brain to talk about its malfunction. It's still going to use the OCD brain to discuss what you're discussing about its malfunction. All right. And Joseph says, also with OCD, do you have to accept the worst case scenario, or is that a BS mainstream OCD? No, it's not accept worst case scenario. No, why should you accept worst case scenario? You accept that the OCD can exist, meaning it can come up with all this bullshit. It doesn't mean you accept what the OCD says. You just say, hey, listen, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to debate with you. Whatever you want to think. But I choose the way I've chosen, and I live according to what's in line with my values. That's all. You don't have to refute it. You know, it says you're gay. Okay, fine, I'm gay. You think I'm gay? Okay, but what you think is not me. What you think is like somebody else out there thinks I'm gay. Okay, fine. What do I have to do with what people think? I live my life according to what I prefer and my inclination, my choice. So you want to think that way? I'm not going to debate with you. It's a waste of my time. Who am I proving into? I'm proving the brain, which is an organ of mine. I'm gonna justify myself and prove myself to my own fucking brain. That's why it's not accepting what the brain says. You're accepting that the brain has got a malfunction and it says what it says. I don't care about it. I'm not going to prove to you right or wrong. You can do whatever you want to do, but I know what is right for me, and that's how I'm going to conduct my life. And I'm not going to look for conclusion that I have to prove to you that you got to see it my way. No, you see your way, I see my way. It's simple. I don't have to exchange that, because the more you exchange that, the more the brain thinks, oh, that's the path to go. The more you just do your own thing and just allow thoughts to exist. Don't try to change them. It doesn't matter if you change and make the brain to accept. You think the brain is going to accept? Brain is in a glitch. No matter what you say to it, it's still being a glitch. It's going to debate with you because it's in a glitch. It's not you. You're the awareness. You're above the brain. You don't need to justify yourself, explain to the brain what you are, what your preferences and your inclination is. The brain thinks that way. So, okay, whatever. Fair enough. That doesn't change anything. It doesn't change me just because the brain says something or suggests something or imagines something or whatever. So you accept thoughts can exist. Not that you accept what the brain says is correct or not correct. Just, I'm not going to be discussing it with you, because who are you? You're just a blob of a cholesterol, and you have neurons going everywhere. And I existed before you came along. So I'm not going to, accept what you're telling me I am. I know what I am according to my preferences, and I accept that the thoughts can exist. All right, so you can say what you want to say. I'm not going to make an effort to change your mind or say you're right or you're wrong. But, I'm just going to react in such a way that it doesn't make me wonder about what you say. It's okay. I'm not worried about the word gay. Gay. You think I'm gay? Okay, I'm gay in your mind. But I like girls. So what the fuck? So you take that sharpness of fear or whatever out of someone's uttering out, you live your life. Because it doesn't matter what people say your brain says, that doesn't change the reality of yours. That you have to prove to them that they're wrong or right before you can be what you want to be or what you have always been. So stop paying attention to these things and trying to refute or accept or whatever. Just live your life according to what you prefer. That's all. Live your life with your choices and vetoes. That's all. There's no need to prove anything or disprove anything. Okay. Joseph says, Mehran, you're truly a blessing. You've helped me so much over the last year. Thank you, seriously. My pleasure. And Joseph, I started watching you a year ago. I stopped for a while because I wasn't mature enough to understand, but you planted the seed to help me get to where I am at now and the great things ahead. Wunderbar. Kudos to you. Live long and prosper. All right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 12 minutes and 31 seconds. And we, the channel, all of us together, the channel has made $1.99. That's $2 and $2, $4. And we have made another $2, $6. Jesus, we made $6 for 1 hour and 12 minutes. That's a night to be remembered. Now, you cheap bastards, next time, I hope you'll have your friends here who are richer than you and help the channel. Now, it's time for me to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. And I look forward to our next live stream. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe on my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mind@seekstruth.com, making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon. But we too, like the iceberg, have 1,000 times bigger powers that is not visible, and we must. Why? Is it something we're rambling on and I expect you to accept it? Or is there actually another power within us? Would you come and help me out? Okay. What I want you to do is put your hands underneath my arms and just lift me up. There we go. Okay, now, that's my physical part, right? Same thing. Again, with that. Just want to see if there's any difference. Go ahead. Now, go ahead. Now, this, go ahead, when you're ready.
Go ahead.
So you see, this is different than what he was doing, and I'm not really doing anything. You convinced?
Yeah.
So are you guys convinced that there is something other than, thank you. Thank you very much.